Hello guys, today we're going to be doing our first Q&A. It's going to be a Merry Christmas by the time this publishes.
Merry
So, Merry
Christmas!
Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Oh God, why are you going to do that? Can we just have
Merry
a normal?
Christmas!
We want to take the time because it's been 1 year since our channel is published and we want to answer some of your questions, get to know us a little bit more, and hopefully we get to know you more throughout 2018 as well. So, let's start.
Okay, so Daniel, tell us about yourself. Who are you?
Who am I? Hmm. Who am I? Who should I
Where are
be?
you from?
This sounds like
Which
a
planet are you
this
from?
sounds like a question my dad would ask me. How will you succeed in life? So I was born in Busan. Busan Sarai means like a muchacho Busan guy. But anyway, when I was 4, I moved to the States. So basically, I did all of my education from kindergarten all the way up through university. I lived in Orange County, specifically Fullerton. And then for college, I moved to South Bend, Indiana. And there's nothing in South Bend, Indiana other than very cold weather and football. So I went to Notre Dame. And after I graduated, I came back to Korea. So I went back to Korea for the military, which was quite a shock. I'll tell you more about this later, but yeah. So I ended up going to the
So you are officially a man now.
yeah. So I've been to the military, so now I can call myself a man. Um, Finished the military. I studied finance, so started my career off in just a little bit of banking, and then finished that, and then went into sort of management consulting. Did that for about.
It's too long. Cut.
And Katie, let me throw the question back to you.
So, hello everybody. I'm Katie. My Korean name is Ok Dong-yoon.
Do you have to say it with such velocity? Oh, Dongyun.
My story is that unlike Daniel, my whole family, is in Busan. I was born and raised in Busan all the way up to elementary school. And after elementary school, I moved to the UK and been living there all the way up till university. At the beginning, I lived in a place called Surrey, just outside London. And then for university, I moved to the London, central London, and then lived there for 3 years. And after university, I moved back to Korea to start a job here in Seoul and had been living in Seoul ever since.
So we're both from Busan. One person went to London. One person went to the U.S. So then, how did we meet back in Korea? How did this happen? I think we have two different stories: the guy version and the girl's version. So, Katie, you want to share your rendition of how we met?
So I first took my job in a commercial bank in Korea. Working there, working at a branch in Sinchon, which is a college town. Lots of university students come by. And then I was working right at the exchange desk, and Daniel comes in as a customer, and that's how I first met him. And then and he came one time, came again the second time, and then third time he started. He didn't leave my desk, and when I had all the customers waiting at the behind, and then my senior next to me was like, I could still feel his like mad eyes, like suspicious. Why this guy is not going away when he seems like he's done? And then somehow I think we exchanged numbers, and then that's how we started to meet and get to know each other.
Yeah, but there's one funny part of the story. So when I first saw her at the bank, yeah, I was really digging her. So you get a number, and when the next teller is available, you can go. But I actually wanted to go talk to Katie, so even though it'd be my number, I'd like let people pass by, and it was a it was a good move.
That's why he kept coming right in front of my desk when there was one other guy who was also in charge of that desk.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, during one trip, I was moving some money from the U.S. to Korea, and we started talking, and
He kept asking me questions.
Yeah, well, we got kind of lost in the discussion that Katie actually messed up the transaction.
He confused me because that was only my first year. I was still very clumsy and like, miscalculate some money.
So if, for example, I don't know what the exact amount was, but if it was like $10,000, she gave me $1,000 or something like that. She missed a zero, and so when I got the stack of money and I went to go deposit it, there was like 1 0 that was missing, and I was like, oh my goodness, what am I gonna say? Because once you leave the teller, I mean, there's no going back. All they'll say is, "I gave you the money," And so when I went back, there's this thing in Korea: whoever has the loudest voice wins. So I kind of was thinking about using that strategy. So if you can like cause a scene, then they'll like do it. But as soon as I walked upstairs, she was kind of like, "Oh, come here, come here." And so for me, that was like a big thing, where not only was she very pretty, but she was very honest as well. So yeah,
I think when I saw this guy come back, I instantly knew there was something wrong why he came back. And then like my head started spinning, and then I realized, oh my gosh, maybe I did miss some zeros. So I started to look back to my record, and and then I gave him the money back, and I thought he would never return.
but I did. 짜장면 or jjampong?
짜장면.
Katie, number one pet peeve.
People who gab when they brush their teeth. So Kimberly asked, what are your day jobs? Your recipes are simple and easy to follow. So is it in the food industry?
No. Right now, I'm working very hard, of course, on YouTube to pump out these videos. But yeah, I'm what Koreans call a 백수.
백수 in English means shameful unemployed guy.
So I like to say my office right now is Starbucks, Cafe Bene, Cafe Pascucci, Tusum Place. We have a coffee shop in Korea called Tusum Place. Great for coffee. But yeah, I'm working on other pet projects, which hopefully will turn into some startups. So I'm running YouTube in parallel with these other personal projects, and hopefully some of them launch off. We'll see. How about you, Katie?
So right now I'm a web developer working in a portal company in Korea. But I wasn't always working as a web developer. As I said before, I majored in finance, so I started my career at a commercial bank in Korea. I was working there about 4 years, and
You weren't that happy. You were pretty. It was
Yeah.
tough. Late hours, like
yeah,
8 in the morning to like 1 at night. 1 at night. Yeah.
yeah,
Working in
it
Korea
was
is
just,
crazy.
there was nothing to look forward to in the job.
Yeah.
So I wanted to really switch out and do something else. And at that time, I heard about programming, so I got very interested. So I went to a coding bootcamp to learn programming, and then I was able to pivot from banking to programming.
It was good because she didn't even know how to do Facebook. Like she didn't understand how to use
I
Facebook.
was not active at all.
So
I was such a IT neglect.
so it's come a long ways. So maybe the next question is, where did we learn how to cook? Katie, how did you learn how to cook?
So I never really learned professionally how to cook. I just watched my mom cook during childhood, and then as I turned adult, I think both me and Daniel were interested in cooking, and we really wanted to up our skills, especially in Korean food cooking. And then one time I signed us up for a cooking lesson, and we went in. That was our first class in Korean food cooking. I think it was making 된장찌개, 차돌 된장찌개, and then we realized that there's no other guy other than Daniel in the whole class, which made Daniel feel quite awkward.
Okay, so Katie, I'm gonna cut you off right here because this is how it really went. So Katie was like, Daniel, we should do some cooking lessons, and I was like, sure, why not improve, whatever. So on the first day of the class, I walk in, and it is all females. I think it's like 30 women, just like looking back because we came in 5 minutes late, and I was like, oh my goodness.
And Daniel was the only guy.
Yeah, I was the only guy, and I was
like, great.
Yeah, but I was like, is there no guys that are interested in cooking? I was like, that's strange. And then 3 classes later, um, I looked at the pamphlet which she signed me up for, and it was called, what was it called?
며느리 밥상.
며느리 밥상, which in Korean means cooking classes for the newly wedded wife. so,
But I'm cool with it, you know?
yeah, you're probably cool with it. One of the reasons why I wanted to start Future Neighbor was just like you, when it hits like 12 o'clock, like I want to watch some videos. It helps you fall asleep, at least it does for me. And most of the times I'm looking at cooking shows. So when I was abroad working, I watched so much of Jamie Oliver, so much of Gordon Ramsay, so much of all these other like indie YouTube channels. And I loved it. It was like, I felt like I gained confidence by watching these videos, enough so that when I came back home, we would do a lot of Italian dishes together. We would try out even Persian recipes. Through food, you get more curious about culture. But what about Korean food? Who's doing that for Korean food, or Asian food in general? Someone who's breaking it down. Like when I was learning Korean food when I was young, my mom would of course try to teach me, but it was all from like intuition. Like she would just do like a few dashes of this. Do you understand? A few scoops of
So
this,
in
taste
Korea,
it.
we have this called 손맛, which is hand taste. So there's no need for a measurement.
Yeah.
So people expect you to like get it over time through experience,
It's the Asian way.
through the feeling,
That's
the gut
right.
feeling.
Yeah, but if you want to get gut feeling, you gotta try it like 100 times, and then you'll get a gut feeling. So we thought, hey, why not we standardize the cups, the measurements? Why not break down the process? And more importantly, why not make it fun? Because when I was learning from my mom how to cook, it wasn't that fun. It was certainly effective, but Halloween or Christmas?
Christmas,
Netflix or movie theater?
Netflix,
Window or aisle?
aisle, because I like to catch up with all the gossip.
And Katie, your favorite Korean dish?
My favorite Korean dish to eat is 된장찌개.
That's right. She eats 된장찌개 so much.
I just miss it all the time, even though I have it all the time. And it's just the most comforting food for your stomach,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm the 된장녀. I'm the 된장 girl.
My favorite Korean dish has to be 꼬리곰탕. It's oxtail bone soup, or maybe it's just called oxtail soup, but it's amazing. My grandma makes this, and I've never attempted it because I'm waiting for her. Well, I'm waiting for myself to go visit her again, and then cook with her once to get her recipe. But it's amazing. It's like oxtail reduced in like kind of like a solongtang sort of soup. Eric asks, "Do you use the yellow emoji because you're Asian?" Oh my God.
Look at the color of my skin. Does it look white?
I look pretty red, so
So he needs a red emoji, if anything, but they haven't made one yet, so we're waiting on it.
I love the internet. And one thing that comes to mind is how far Korean food has come, especially in the West. Like when my family first moved to North Carolina, my mom would cook 된장찌개, which is again the soybean stew. And of course, at that time it was hard for us, so we were living in an apartment, and of course we're living very close to our neighbors. And one time our neighbors called the cops, and and we the cop was like,
Why?
guess why? They thought we were cooking our cat.
That's really bad.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of stereotypes exist back then. They still do, but they thought their Korean neighbors was cooking the local cats, and so my mom had to come back out with the 된장찌개 stew, and it was like, "There's no cats in here," and
Is this really true or you
yeah,
made it up?
no, ask my mom. So,
that's
story
kinda-
number one.
Impressive story. No, but when I was at my school, I was at a boarding school, so on the weekends we would go to a New Malden, which is like a little Korean town, and have Korean food together. But everybody loved it so much.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice kids. I went through a public education system in, in California. And I remember one friend, his mom was so Korean. Like, this was in elementary school. And during elementary school, the worst thing you could do is stick out, right? You need to be like quote unquote normal. And so my friend, his name is Mike, um, Mike's mom, she would pack him, what is that? Like, 꽁치, 꽁치조림.
That's pretty tough.
That's pretty tough, huh? 꽁치조림 is like
Gongchi, I'm gonna look it up what
it's
it
like
is in English.
spicy braised
Fish.
Yeah,
it's a type of fish.
it's like spicy braised fish, and she
It's
would put that
really
over
nice.
rice. Yeah,
But I think
yeah,
the
but not as
West,
a third
the
grader.
West people in the West, you're not so used to that taste.
So long story short, every time like lunchtime would come around, Mike would be so fearful of opening his lunch, because like first person up lunchable, second person up sandwich, third person up lunchable, fourth person up maybe a fried rice.
Oh, gongchi is Pacific sorry.
What is a Pacific sorry? Dude, Google Translate not reliable. But anyway, when it was Mike's turn, he would open it up, and all the kids would be like, "Mike, what is that? What is that?" And so like it was brutal. Like a circle would form around him, and he'd be like, "What is that? It's cat or something crazy." So it's brutal. Being an elementary school student, it's brutal. Yeah, but anyway, I always remember these things because now it's so funny to look back on.
What are your number one pet peeves?
People who don't have inside voices. Mic it down, please.
Mountain or beach?
Mountain. I like the hiking. Katie, where did you get your desire to cook? Or what motivates you to cook? Maybe I'll ask you that. What motivates you to cook?
I think I really like home food now. I don't order food at all.
So you cook because you enjoy not feeling icky from the outside food, right?
I think home food tastes much better than outside food. And I trust it much more. And more than anything, I think it tastes better. That's why it makes me want to cook at home. And then surprisingly, one thing that I'm quite proud about, I don't know, but I've never ordered a single food from outside ever since I lived in Seoul.
Oh, you never ordered takeout?
No, not takeout, delivery. I never did delivery. Not even chicken, fried chicken, or anything like that. I just don't like people knowing my place.
I think that's different from that. I think you got some other issues going on.
So what motivated you to learn how to cook?
When I was young, my mom would go to work, and my sister was like the big boss. She's like 2 years older than me. And so she'd be like, "Daniel, wake your butt up. You need to make me food." And I'd be like, "No, I'm going to sleep." And she would like get my Nintendo 64 games, and she would put it right over the toilet, and she'd be like, "It's going to go in. I want kimchi fried rice right now." so because of my big sister, I had to cook for her, and I cook for her all the time. So now she can barely fry an egg. But for me, all those painful cooking learnings when I was very young helped me to like build a foundation, and now I enjoy it very much. So, big sis, thank you very much.
What do you like to do when you have free time?
What do you like to do when you have free time?
I really like to watch Korean dramas.
Oh God, what's your favorite drama right now? She watches a lot.
Yeah, I watch a lot of K-dramas because it makes me dream.
What do you mean dream? What do you mean by dream?
Dream about the future and takes me to this wonderland of pure love and pure hatred and pure jealousy. It's really fun, a lot of drama. I love drama.
So the emotions are raw.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
love it. And then, I don't know, and especially I like romantic comedies. Romantic comedies, yes. I'm really sad because Daniel never fully understands this love for K-drama, so he can never relate to me. People out there who can relate to me, raise your hand.
Empty, empty, just empty.
What do you like to do in your free time?
So lately, I've been trying to learn one new activity per year. So this year was windsurfing. Last year, got a scuba diving license. So next year, I don't know what it's gonna be. I think, but more on a normal day, I think just running. I love running. It kind of helps me de-stress, helps me burn off those calories, and it just gives me a reset button. So I love running. Love running, but my knees hurt. My knees hurt
Because
lately.
it has this O-shaped leg.
Oh my god.
Odari. That's why his first name. That's why his last name is O. Because his leg is O.
She gives me such a hard time that I'm bow-legged. What's wrong with being bow-legged? What's
It's
wrong?
just not healthy. I care about your elderly life.
You care about how I'm gonna be when I'm old?
Yeah, because of the pressure, it's not even.
Well, this old-legged went and did a marathon, alright?
Now all the bow-legged people are gonna hate on me. Namaste.
You're crazy.
What's the one dish from another country you both really want to try but haven't?
No, actually, I want to go to India and I want to try some proper Indian curry. Like, I've had, of course, curry at restaurants, but it's a little bit too fancy. Like, I want the raw, sort of home, more like street style sort of
Local.
curry. Yeah. And I want to try eating with my fingers. Like, it's, for some that might not sound too appealing, but for me, I just like mission. It sounds fun to me. So I want to do that. How about you, Katie?
I want to go to Switzerland and try the real Swiss fondue.
Fondue.
Because I love cheese, like Daniel can stand, has very low tolerance on the different types of cheese. But I love those stinky cheese. I really love the
Yeah.
smell as well. I have this weird fantasy about the smell. I love the smell of petrol station. I love the smell of new towel.
Actually, in our first year of dating, we took a trip to Paris, and of course, beautiful city. Um, but we went into a boutique cheese shop, and Katie, like, I'm not that big on cheeses. It's very hard for me. Like, even blue cheese, like, that might be my limit. But Katie bought the stankiest cheese. I'm talking like in between your toes, that stank. Oh.
He's over exaggerating.
No, it was bad. It was bad. And I kept it in my backpack because she's kind of sometimes just nibbles on food. She won't eat the whole thing. So she just took one nibble and then we still had like half a pound left. So I put it in my backpack and the whole day we're walking around and I just smell feet everywhere. I started getting a headache. And I was like, Katie, either eat this or we're going to toss this. But of course, it was still our first year of dating, so I couldn't be that direct. So I was like, well, I think you should throw it away. Meanwhile, I was getting like a migraine from this massive toe smell everywhere. So
Don't say it's toe. That sounds too dirty. It's not toe.
it's stanky.
Yeah.
Like stinky cheese is stanky. But anyway, let's move to the next one.
Do you have a go-to rainy day fish?
Fish. What are you talking about?
Do you have a go-to rainy day dish?
So Katie, actually, let me ask you, how come you always say weird things on tape?
I don't know. I just don't know. I just can't help it. Sorry, guys.
Like
I'll try my best next time.
She'll see 2 mushrooms, or she'll see 3 mushrooms and say, "Look, guys, there's 2 mushrooms." She'll see a cucumber and say, "Look
I
at
think
that
once
carrot."
the camera is rolling, my head goes somewhere else. I'm in a different space.
It's kind of hard to zone. I think it's a skill though. We have to practice. So Katie, can you tell them more about where we film? Where do we film?
We film in a small studio, which is my room.
Yeah.
And I want to describe to you my room. I feel too ashamed to show you through camera, but I'll just describe it in words. So the kitchen that you see is the entire kitchen. Right in front of the kitchen is my desk. On the right hand side, front side is my bed. Behind the kitchen is the toilet. And maybe a few steps from the kitchen is the door to my room.
So when we
That's the end of description of my room.
so when we cook anything with soy sauce, that room stinks. I mean, you gotta sleep with like a one of those masks. But
So
yeah,
I just make sure that I put all my clothes, everything into the closet before I start cooking, because otherwise it just soak into the clothes and I
Yeah.
can't wear it the next day.
yeah. Maybe one day we'll get a bigger kitchen, but right now we're running off of it's called ofice텔's in Korea, but it's just like a one-person studio, fully furnished as your kitchen. So if you're gonna come to Korea and work, it's a great option. Relatively cheap too.
Herringbone asks, you mentioned that in Korea you have to do military service and that you finished recently. What was the military like?
And I still remember one thing, like when we were registering in to the army, like during the first week of boot camp, of course you have to sign off on papers. And it's the most basic thing. It's like a psychological test. Like, are you crazy? No. Do you do drugs? No. Do you have thoughts of suicide? No. I mean, these are all just, just write no for everything and you're fine. But I couldn't read it because it was pretty formal Korean language. So I tapped on the guy to the left of me and I was like, hey, can you help me fill out this form? And the guy looked at me like, in horror. Like he was like petrified that out of all of the people in Korea, he had to be paired up with me, someone who doesn't even know how to speak their own local language. And yeah, it was kind of a culture shock. But he later confided to me that he thought I was so poor and so unfortunate that I never had the chance to learn how to speak
But the few
or read or write my own language. So he was really scared of me. But then at the same time, I didn't want to go and say, guys, I'm from the States, blah, 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 blah. And, just go with the flow. And it was actually a good experience in my opinion.
So crazy9310, thank you for asking the question. A wonderful idea. Would you ever consider making a cookbook? What is the best piece of advice you have for people learning to cook?
All right. Well, thanks for that question. Yes, I think we were originally going to. No, actually, we are. So next year, we're going to start
We're
making the
planning on
manuscript.
it.
We're going
Yeah.
to make the manuscript for a cookbook. So yeah, starting from January, and hopefully we get everything in place. So by 2019, we can push that to publishers and get that in a hardback.
By 2019, you
Yeah,
said, not
yeah.
18?
Yeah, 18's too fast. So in 18, actually, we're going to launch an e-commerce store, and we're going to try to push out a lot of these boxes, from ramen to spices to snacks to hangover drinks,
Seaweed sheets.
seaweed, all sorts of stuff. And we're going to open our little, like, kind of like a
Future neighbor store.
yeah, future neighbor convenience store, kind of like a 7-Eleven online. Sounds grand, probably not going to be that great, but we're going to launch it. We're going to have fun with it. So I think that's going to be the mission pretty soon.
Can you tell our viewers what's the mission of our channel?
For sure. So,
What do you want to achieve with this channel?
well, the big goal is to really introduce like Korean cuisine to every home cook in the world. So from Africa to Antarctica to Europe, to Americas,
South
to Latin
America.
America, and the list goes on forever. But I think the way to use our videos is pretty simple. Our video recipes will take you about 60 to 70% there. So with our recipes, are you gonna win a Michelin star? No, no, no. Sorry. Business plan is broken. But with 60 to 70%, you're gonna know the basics. You're gonna start to understand the flavors, and if you give it to any Korean, they're gonna be like, "This is great food." So once you make those dishes, maybe like 5 or 6 times, you're gonna develop sort of an idea of where it can go to take it to 70 or 80. So adding a dash of this, adding your own personal flavor, some plating, some toppings, and that takes it to the next 80 to 90. So I want to take you guys to the 70% line, and then you bring in your style, your ideas to bring it to the 90. If you hit 100, then you crazy.
This is the word that I hear the most from Daniel, by the way.
You crazy. Girl, you crazy.
Window or aisle?
Aisle. That path's got to be clear when I go to the restroom.
Bow-legged or straight-legged?
Woosa.
Sabra asks, Any advice for young viewers in living a happy life? You guys always seem so bright and happy. Is that true, or is that just in front of camera? I think I have a lot of ups and downs in my life every day. So I think I can go very, very happy and lots of smiles in 1 minute and just get so depressed and sad in another minute. I think it's very natural. But I think during when we are filming, I just really have a lot of energy because I enjoy doing this. So I think it naturally comes. So I used to have a lot of stress and complex about not being able to hide my tears and being very emotional. But I think I realized that it's okay. So sometimes you'll be happy, sometimes you'll be sad and like feel really depressed. And I don't think I have fully overcome it, but I think I'm starting to accept and realize that like it's okay. And whenever I feel like I want to cry or my tears are coming, before I used to think like, oh my gosh, how can I stop this? How can I force it to stop? I shouldn't feel this way. But now I'm starting to accept it, and it's making me feel much more comfortable and be myself.
So what you're saying is like it's okay to have this full range of emotions that you don't necessarily always have to be like
Happy,
super happy all the time.
or super
Yeah,
excited.
if you're like sad, then feel sad, feel depressed, but don't let it be in that sort of dip for too long, right? Like
Yeah.
come back.
But I don't know if this is the answer for this. Any advice for young viewers in living a happy life?
It's okay. I mean, I think it's quite authentic statements. I don't know. I mean, if you ask me like any advice, I could talk your ear off. I could probably go for like 3 hours on this topic. But I think what it comes down to, and Katie's heard a lot of this from me, but so I think it comes down to two things. Number one is the fact that nothing comes to you for granted. So whether it's happiness, whether it's success, or whether it's love, you have to work for it. So when you want to build a healthy relationships, you got to work towards that, and it's not like a one-time thing. You need to constantly be working for that. Same thing with a career. Same thing with YouTube. So when you're always working towards something, it's very exhausting if all you're looking for is the goal itself. So for me, what I try to repeat to myself is to find fun in the process itself. Because if you think about it, the goal itself is a second. What I mean by that is if your goal was to hit 1 million subscribers, when you hit 1 million subscribers, that's 1 second, and you feel great. But imagine the amount of hours, the years that we put in to grow to that amount. So if that part's not enjoyable, 99% of the time is spent in the process, right? And that 1 second is the goal. So find ways to make it fun. So if you're in a shitty job, if you don't like it at school, you don't have the right friends, either change the process or find your own fun in a process you can't change. And I think that will make you.
And I think for me, meditation. I try to do it, but I don't necessarily do it every day. But I realized that it really helps in finding peace and finding peace in your life, and it makes you feel much more comfortable and I think less stressful and happy overall.
Yeah. I generally answer the YouTube comments. Katie usually.
오빠 얼굴을 너무 들지 마. 이렇게 해야지 작게 나오지 얼굴이.
My face, you can't fix this big face. That's not a camera trick, it's just big. All right, let me step back.
So I'm the Insta manager.
And
By the
Facebook.
way, we have a Twitter account too.
Yeah, that one's so dead though. She does all the social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm usually answering YouTube comments and an email and also the blog as well. So
So what's next for us for 2018?
we've been revamping the futuredish.com. I think that one looks kind of terrible. So we're revamping it right now. We have over 100 recipes and somehow our plugins don't adapt, so I have to redo all of those. So I'm in the middle of that. We're going to launch that convenience store, Future Neighbor convenience store. and
Keep pushing out
new videos. Yeah.
new videos. Thanks for listening. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for all these questions. We really have a lot of fun reading them.
Thank you guys so much.
And if you wanna know, if you have more questions for us, please send them over, and then we could do a part 2 of this Q&A.
Yeah, if you guys like this real talk, then we'll do more of this. But from the bottom of our hearts, thanks for making 2017 so fun for us, and we're gonna push out those recipes. Fighting. Fighting.